begin my remarks in front of the judges with my usual opening. I'm right. And let's continue from there. But before I get started, I want to introduce, I do have 3 books that are currently available on Amazon that are to the point today. One is called Behold a Pale Green Horse. This is this particular book documents the rise of eco-fascism throughout the world and the agenda and who's behind it. Now, it's a particular issue here in Snohomish and Island County because we see eco-fascism rearing its ugly head here in significant ways. The Agenda 21 and Kyoto protocols are coming, and they intend on taking your private property, the state constitution notwithstanding. And I like following Sharam because he had some very interesting things to say about Islam, and he left a couple of points out. So I filled those points in with Behold a White Horse, a book about exactly who is the Muslim Mahdi, and then my latest book, The Obama Error. Now this has been delayed on Amazon because I had to change the cover to include the sickle, moon, and the star, which is reflected in Isaiah 14, Hillel ben Shakar, right? And our friend, I believe that the facts point to, is participating in Islamic economic jihad against the United States.
No doubt.
He introduced, when he spoke in Cairo in April of 2009, he introduced himself in Arab, and he invited 9 members of the Muslim Brotherhood to that speech. And at the close of that speech, he said in perfect Arabic, "I am one of you." Well, I don't know exactly what that means. I guess we're going to have to infer from that speech what he meant. And I think some of those inferences are pretty obvious, given the fact that he's honored Ramadan and took all his jewelry off during Ramadan, canceled the Christian National Day of Prayer, appears in Georgetown only after they cover the crucifix, abolished and created a National Day of Prayer for Islam at the White House. Now, to my Islamic brothers and sisters, let me say this. There is good news out there. But the good news is found in the gospel of Yeshua HaMashiach. You will not obtain heaven when you are, the Quran provides expressly that all Muslims will go to hell and they will be judged in hell based upon weighing their good works against their evil deeds. That's what it says.
Yeah, how long
and I'm saying to you, my good Muslim brothers and sisters, come out of her, lest you be judged, and recognize that the path to heaven is done simply through a simple confession in the name that is our salvation. So, with that being said, I want to talk to you about our current state of affairs. I am not one who believes that we can sit back on our Tea Party behinds and wait, because very little time remains. Our current budget deficit on the books is at $14.294 trillion. The GDP for the nation is $14.25 trillion. So let's be very, very clear. When we exceed the budget ceiling, and Obama wants to exceed it by $1.6 trillion this year, when we exceed that ceiling, we are insolvent. And once we hit insolvency, the world will abandon our currency, will abandon our bonds, and will abandon us. And when they abandon us, the dollar will collapse, which, by the way, is the intent of those who are engaged in economic jihad against this nation. That is their intent. When the dollar collapses and the dollar crashes, instead of paying the $4 a gallon you're paying today, thank you, Mr. No Drill, Obama, instead of paying the $4 a gallon you're paying today, you'll be paying $20, if you can find it. If you can find it. And you can rest assured when gas is $20 a gallon, Costco's not going to have food on the shelves at the prices you're paying today. So this is coming very, very soon. The financial destruction of the dollar, intended by certain leaders in our nation. That is to say, Obama, working on behalf of George Soros and his minions. And I want to point out, for those of you that do not know, Mr. Soros, at age 17, having changed his name from Georgi Schwartz, was a Nazi who interred Jews in concentration camps in Hungary. Let's be clear about that. Now, I don't know, but I've never seen his statement of confession and repentance from the Nazi Party. Never seen it. Never heard it. As far as I know, he's still a Nazi. Now, if he's still a Nazi and he's making policies, what policies do you think would be coming to the United States?
Destruction.
Yeah, destruction, people in concentration camps, absolute rulership by the arrogant Luciferian Nazis. That's what would be coming. And you have to ask yourself, are they getting there? Well, I don't know. We've had a revolution going on in the state of Washington. Larry Stickney and I did the R-71 campaign 2 years ago. Now, my shtick on the R-71 campaign was it overturned 210 statutes. 210 statutes, the single largest modification to the statutory scheme in the state of Washington since the code was entirely revised. Now that, my friends, is revolution. And if it's revolution, you have to ask yourself, what God is being honored such that all of these statutes are being modified? Well, I don't know, but it's a God that exalts homosexuality and same-sex marriage. And let me say this. If you're going to exalt homosexuality and same-sex marriage, let me tell you who's going to pay the price for that. It is the status of women. Because women only achieve equality in a society that provides for monogamy in a one-man, one-woman marriage, period. Every other society that has abandoned that standard, which is a Christian standard, I might add, when you abandon that standard, guess what? Women lose status. You know what the status of a woman is in the Islamic world? She's lower than animals. You know why she's lower than animals? Because a man can have 4 wives. And he's not going to come home to have his wife say, well, it's 4-1, you're outvoted. No, it's not 4-1. I'm the man, your vote is less than 25%. So the 4 of you can get together and gang up, you still only make 98%. I make 100, you're outvoted. Now that is the Islamic system. That is the true Islamic system. So for those of you that are willing to support that, and I know women who put on the burqa. The burqa is a prison. It is an ungodly, satanic prison. You do not want to be behind it. You do not want to be behind it. But we've had a revolution going on in the state of Washington, and the revolution continues. Now we have this surrogacy law that's proposed. The surrogacy law that, if it's passed, says, well, come on. How are we interfering with your business, Mr. Pidgeon? You're not even adopting children. The surrogacy law, if it passes, will gut the right of contract and the way contracts are understood in the state of Washington. All because same-sex families want to adopt kids that, who knows, could be cloned. Test tube babies and so on and so forth. The fact is, a revolution is underway. We're seeing further aspects of the revolution in terms of the way property is being stolen from landowners in this state. Now, we do have a fundamental responsibility here in Washington to take care of fresh water. We are blessed with fresh water. And believe me, that blessing will become more and more clear as the next few years proceed. We are blessed with fresh water. We have a duty to take care of that fresh water. But let me say this to the state. You want to take care of fresh water? Fine. Do it on your property. When you decide to take somebody else's property to take care of your fresh water obligations, you can do it. But the Constitution provides that you will pay for it. It's called eminent domain. It's the 5th Amendment. And it's enshrined in this state constitution. So we have a very significant issue, and the state needs to know. Now, the last thing I want to say is this. I mentioned in my opening remarks that we're under an emergency. We are in an emergency situation right now. It's a critical emergency. Once we exceed the debt ceiling, you all will see the effects of this emergency, and you're going to see it in your personal lives and in your checkbooks instantly. So what I say to you is, we have some steps we have to take. First step, Mr. Soros must be arrested for the attempted overthrow of the United States.
That's right.
Anyone who is working with him needs to be indicted and jailed right along with him. Second step is, Barack Hussein Obama, I think that's his name, needs to be removed from office.
Impeach! Get him out of here!
There we go. Now, I want to ask somebody here, is there anybody here who can provide definitive evidence as to what his real name is? Anybody?
God is everywhere, so yes.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Thanks, Charlie. In my book here, on the Obama error, I was somebody forwarded me a document, and it was on the internet, so it must be true. But it's actually it is a change of name certificate from British Columbia that was done in 1982.